Hey everyone. Well, this video is going to be kind of a follow-up to some of my recent other chainsaw videos here about talking specifically about chainsaw piston fitment and well, quality or lack thereof regarding OEM, certain quality aftermarket piston options, and well, the cheap no-name brand ones that are now prolific around the world. What this is going to be more of is I'm just going to be a show and tell of a bunch of blown up saw carcasses that I have here on the tailgate of my truck. I'm going to go ahead and show how all the old original OEM pistons were, even though some of these saws have untold amount of hours and unbelievable amounts of cords of wood or truckloads of wood that were cut in their lifetime. Just want to touch on piston quality. This is about chainsaw pistons, rebuilding chainsaws, and engines related to chainsaws. This is what I'm talking about. There seems to be a lot of people coming into the comments trying to draw lines of comparison with high performance or standard passenger vehicle four-stroke engines and trying to cross that over into, well, chainsaw repair, or trying to do comparisons of apples to oranges type of thing. That is not what this is about, and this seems to be a growing argument that seems to be sprouting up with people bringing up, and in particular a couple of guys. This isn't what these videos are what I've been making lately are about. I'm making videos about chainsaws, and in particular working on this Husqvarna 262 XP, the bad deal saw. That's what I'm discussing, and that's what these videos are about. So I will continue on in the vein of chainsaw content, and anybody else that wants to talk about car engines, well, there's all kinds of other YouTube videos and forums about car engines and performance building and all that. If that's your thing, great. But don't try and drag it into my chainsaw video and start drawing, like I say, making apples and oranges comparisons. So I got kind of sucked into this when I didn't really want to, but seeing that we're already there and we're already gone down this rabbit hole, I'm going to show you some examples of good piston fitment even on old worn out saws in their OEM state with the buggered up old pistons still having good piston and connecting rod journal tolerances. So anyways, without blabbering anymore, let's do some show and tell and comparison. Here we go. So here we have an eclectic mix of all kinds of saws from older to newer. Oldest being an old Johnson Red 630 crankcase that was with a severely blown up piston. That saw, from what I understand, had literally not even hundreds of hours on it. It was measured in thousands of cords, full bush cords of wood cut before it finally ate it. And see, we're talking about piston fitment to rod clearances. Look at that. There's literally only a few thousandths of an inch on that rod of piston clearance. It's not slopping around back and forth on the journal. Here's just a little Johnson Red 2150, a cheap consumer grade saw, plastic crankcase. As you can see, these were a major problem with them, where they had mufflers that would melt through the oil tank or in the crankcase if excessive heat buildup. Well, that's what happened to this one. Piston has a little bit of light scoring on it, but nothing horrible. But, just to use as an example, even though this was a cheaply made saw, at the bargain basement level, kind of back in the day when this would have been the sister saw to the Husqvarna 350 Rancher type saws, and it also has decent piston connecting rod journal clearances. Here's a Johnson Red 2156 carcass. This would be the same as a Husqvarna 357 XP saw. Now this one, somebody had a small air leak in it, and unfortunately they scored the front side of the cylinder scored the front side of the piston and cylinder pretty bad, as you can see. But rod end journal to piston journals, very little slack or play in that one. Very close tolerances. Here next to it, I've got a Husqvarna 353 carcass. That would have been in the time of the 346 XP new edition saws. This was saw, I believe, is a 2010. I don't know if you can get in here. I don't know if I can get in here close enough or not to show, but This one also has very close tolerances on the piston. And finally, last but not least, this is not the 262 that I'm working on, but another carcass. I don't know if this is a 257 or 262, I don't remember. But anyways, they shared the same crankcase and crankshaft, so it doesn't matter. I took and put the other piston that was in that 262 on here for an example. This cheap piston and cylinder kit that came on that other saw. There we go. See? You got that big gap here. I pushed it in all the way so you can't say that it's not, whatchamacallit, seated, the wrist pin isn't seated in all the way. And right there, there's your gap. Also, another issue with these cheap aftermarket pistons that you can run into is a lot of times they're not the right diameter, and this one was actually a little bit undersized in the cylinder bore of the cheap cylinder kit that this was part of. As you can see, it has like a funky chatter wear on both the back and the front, which means it was rattling. When you drop this piston down in the cylinder bore, you can actually rattle the piston inside of that cylinder. So, when somebody says it doesn't matter, you can run sloppy pistons in saws and it's not going to be an issue, try running a saw for any length of time doing a bunch of cutting in a professional environment, and you'll see just how fast that sucker will eat it. If you're just cutting a couple cords a year, you probably get away with it for 6, 7, 8 years or maybe a decade, who knows. This bunch of saws on the tailgate of my truck here, and a few other carcasses that I have in my collection, between this whole bunch of blown up old saws, in their lifetime cut thousands of cords of wood. So to have that much wear and tear on them and to still have close piston tolerances, and there's a reason why the factory has them set up with the tolerances that they do. So to say that an aftermarket piston and cylinder doesn't matter, that it's all irrelevant, well, you're full of beans. So my real world life experiences dealing with saws. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. You got yours, I've got mine. I know what works, and whatever that you folks do out there works for you, great. But again, like I said, don't have to get nasty about it, people. We're just making chainsaw videos here. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.